AM 1060 KDUS Tempe Phoenix and KSLX HD2 Scottsdale Phoenix.
Coming right up, another fun varsity sports show.
Hi kids, this is DJ Soulman from the Funk Junkies, and you're listening to the Varsity Sports Show with my man Vince Delicio. And what's your last name?
It is Delicio.
Okay, that's right. That's what I thought. Yeah, right. Okay.
This program is paid for by the Varsity Media Foundation, a 501c3 nonprofit educational organization, and its partners.
You're listening to the Varsity Sports Show, home of Arizona's youth, high school, college sports, and you, empowering education and enabling dreams, right here on KDUS AM 1060 in Arizona. And now, welcome to the Varsity Sports Show.
Hello and welcome to the Varsity Sports Show. It's July 8th. We got a great show planned for you guys today. I'm here with my co-host Austin Hipola. I'm filling in for Vince Delicio today. I'm Connor Ackerley. And yeah, I mean, it's going to be a great show. It's jam-packed with information. We got 3 really good interviews going today. We got some good pre-recorded segments. It's going to be a great day. Austin, what have you been up to this week?
Connor, man, it's nice to be here. Thank you for having me on. And yeah, it's been a busy week, man. I've been trying to get some interviews down, not for just this week's show, but the show's going on forward as well. I got some big things coming up. I don't know if I can reveal them yet, but I will say stay tuned and keep an eye out on the social media at Varsity Sports Show on Twitter. But yeah, it's been a busy week. I got obviously Marcus Carter here going on later today on the show, Desert Edge, co-football head coach. And yeah, man, like I said, it's gonna be a great show. And what do you have going on this week, man?
Just nothing, just planning for the show. We got 3 great names. You mentioned one with 3 great high school names. You mentioned one, Marcus Carter, co-head coach at Desert Edge. We got Coach Jake Barrow, who's my head coach and the coach at Corona del Sol. And then we have a 2026, I think, offensive lineman, Jelaine Miller, who is our big man of the week. And this kid it's a big kid. I'll tell you that much right now.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, I mean, what are you excited? What are you looking forward to in the show today?
Man, I'm really excited to learn more about Desert Edge. I heard they have a great program being built down there, obviously with the Carter brothers being the co-head coaches. Obviously, you mentioned Jelaine Miller, big kid, down there, just tearing things up. And yeah, man, Desert Edge is on the come up. They've had a really good stretch of 2 or 3 years, I believe, when the Carter brothers joined on the program. And yeah, it's going to be exciting. They're really like getting competitive, and especially with these kids coming on the scene, they're maybe 3 times my size, and it's just insane. But yeah, man, and also you got your own head coach coming on this week. What can we expect to hear from you and your head coach for this interview later today?
I mean, I heard that he's been deep sea fishing, so I gotta ask you about that, how that's been going. But yeah, Coach Barrow's been a great coach for me for this year. Last year was his first year with me, but we did a great job this year. He kind of helped rejuvenate Corona. So, I'm excited for people to be able to hear from him.
Are you guys training at all this week or at all this month at all?
No, we came back from Camp Blue Ridge when I interviewed Coach Hathcock last week. That was the guy that ran it. Yeah, we got a week off last week, and then we got this week off as well.
Interesting.
So then once we come back, we're going until December. So it's going to be
What does an off season look like for a high school quarterback like yourself?
It's a grind. It's a grind. And it was especially a grind when I played baseball. I mean, it's just nonstop, always going. You're throwing, you're running, you're trying to get stronger, you're trying to get bigger, trying to eat right. You're trying to just stay in your fundamentals and all that. It's a grind, but it's worth it in the season.
I got to ask you, Connor, are you a big gamer at all?
A big what?
A big gamer.
Not really. I mean, I've been getting into like MLB The Show a little bit, but I'm not I'm not like Rainbow Six Siege.
I only asked this because I'm a fairly big gamer, and I'm not too entwined, but I do play Madden, I do play NBA 2K a lot, and I've always wanted to ask this for to a quarterback like yourself. Do you as a quarterback play Madden and see the field and read defenses to help you prepare for games in real life?
There are times where I don't do it to prepare for games, but when I'm playing Madden for fun with my friends, there's definitely partly an advantage to being a quarterback, and Madden's not 100% realistic, so sometimes I'll throw the ball too quick for Madden, or read something too quick, but I think it provides a little bit of an unfair advantage.
I'm sure there's a lot of arguments started in that household when you're playing with your friends.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah, and we got a lot of pre-records coming on today. We got, Kenji talking about the Anaheim Ducks. We got Brooke on the show. We got, Brendan. We got, Kelsey. We got all these people. A great crew here at Varsity Sports, very diverse. We're all over the area, not just Arizona. We got here Texas, California, and it's going to be a great show. And also we have Tyler, who was it? Tyler Mayer, a fitness guru, coming on later in the show. He's going to talk about, health and wealth and how to stay fit in the summer. And Connor, also, you've also been staying fit in the summer, doing a lot of camps and everything. What are you looking forward to in this downtime when you're not training? How are you going to get yourself, relaxed and, just rested until the start of practice again?
A big thing that I've been kind of emphasizing is just flexibility, stretching, and making sure, the more flexible you are, the more you're stretching, the more, more healthy I'm going to be. Being healthy was an issue for not just me, but kind of our whole team last year at Corona, and I think it's a big deal for me that I need to stay healthy for us, and I feel like that would give us the best chance to win. I got to ask you, because last week we broke the Damian Lillard news.
Right.
Now that we've had 7 days to kind of let the news marinate, what's the newest in the Damian Lillard situation?
I wish it just would get it over with. I just want to see where he ends up and how the aftermath is, but. Yeah, man, Damian Lillard requested a trade last weekend on the show while we were recording here at Varsity Sports. It literally broke Twitter. I mean, Twitter wasn't working all day, so we couldn't even see where he was going or where he could end up going. But yeah, apparently he has a list. It's a very narrow list. It's the Miami Heat and possibly the Brooklyn Nets, and that's it. So. It's kind of making things complicated for the Trailblazers to try to sort out some kind of trade. Apparently, they don't like the trade package the Heat is offering, which is possibly Tyler Hero and a few role players and some picks. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. I really think the NBA is more of like a superstar-driven league, so they pretty much decide where they go. I mean, you have a lot of players. I mean, Bradley Beal just literally forced himself to the Suns, about a month ago. Yeah. So it's going to be interesting. I do believe Damian Lillard will end up on the Heat. It's just a matter of when and, how those assets will get sorted out. But what are your thoughts on the whole thing?
Yeah, it's been a long week basically for the Damian Lillard and the Trailblazers and the Heat, and it seems like he really, really wants to go to the Heat, which, if he can get there, then that'd be great for them, but it depends on what the price is. And you mentioned Bradley Beal, so we got to talk about the Suns, so what do you think? They added Eric Gordon. They added Yuta Watanabe. They added Keita Bates-Diop. Had a few guys that re-signed. What do you think is the biggest offseason acquisition for them so far?
Besides
Beal.
Yeah, Bradley Beal obviously is the biggest star deal. But Eric Gordon, you can't just – that is just a huge pickup. And he signed for the vets minimum when he could have really gotten maybe, 10, 15 million on the market to any other team. But he saw what the Suns are building. We got Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, Bradley Beal. Hired Frank Vogel from the Lakers. They're building something absolutely insane. And Eric Gordon was a very, very quality role player for the Clippers last year. Has been a very quality role player for pretty much his entire career. So to add him on the Suns team, his shooting, his defense it's pretty underrated, to be honest. And just his veteran experience. He's been in the league for about, I think, maybe almost 15 years at this point, maybe a little over. But yeah, Eric Gordon is a huge addition, and he's just got to add so much quality depth to that Suns team, along with Yuta Watanabe, like you mentioned. And also the Suns did make a trade with the Grizzlies a few days ago. They acquired 3 second-round picks. Yeah, they gave up some pick swaps in there. So they're kind of building back those picks they got from trading away for Bradley Beal, all those second-round picks. Yeah. I think they gave up 6 second-round picks. So they're kind of getting those picks back, and they're shaping up, man.
Yeah, and you mentioned Eric Gordon's defense is kind of underrated. And, that series against the Clippers, Devin Booker was looking pretty unstoppable, but – the Clippers did put Eric Gordon on him, so they obviously trusted him with the task, and Devin Booker just couldn't miss. So that's not really on Eric Gordon. But the other thing I got to ask you is right now, looking at the roster and how it's constructed, you got obviously Booker, Beal, Kevin Durant, and DeAndre Ayton are kind of like your locked-in starters. So that fifth starter is going to be really important. Who do you think that is going to be that Suns' fifth starter?
Man, that's a great question. I think Book's going to run the point guard position. You got Beal at shooting guard. You got Aiden at center, Kevin Durant at power forward. Small forward, I don't know. Ideally, I mean, Eric Gordon, maybe a six man. So, you got the six man right there off the bench. You got Yuta Watanabe. They also, didn't they acquire another veteran, I believe? Or am I missing something? They got a Kogi back.
They got a Kogi back.
Yeah,
they got Damian Lee back.
Damian Lee. Cameron Payne's still there, but he's going to come off the bench. I think a Kogi ideally probably run to three with Kevin Durant at the four. Kogi's very versatile in his defense. He's been kind of spotty with his shooting, but he's still kind of young, so you would hope that his shooting would progress, especially like in the corner threes and whatnot. So, I think it'd be Booker at point guard, Beal at shooting guard, a Kogi at three, Kevin Durant at the power forward, and DeAndre Ayton at center, with Eric Gordon coming off the bench along with Watanabe and all those great role players.
Yep. Well, folks, we got a great show today planned for you guys. Like we said, we got Marcus Carter, co-head coach Desert Edge. We got Coach Jake Barrow, head coach at Corona del Sol. We got Tyler Mayer, a fitness guru. He's going to talk about health and wellness. We got the big man of the week, Jelaine Miller, multiple Division I offers. I think it's around 9 or 10 now. Kid's 6'5", 320. Started on varsity as a freshman last year. I mean,
insane.
The way that some of these kids are looking nowadays. You just got Eliza Rushing, just committed to U of A. We were talking about that before the show. 6'5",
250 pounds.
Yeah. I mean, what do you think about U of A kind of had a few rough years, and now they're getting one of the top rated recruits in their program history. I mean, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, as a ASU student myself, it's not looking too good for us. But obviously we have Kenny Dillingham coming on the program. He's gonna make great things happen. But yeah, U of A is building something really special, and like you mentioned, that kid 6'5", 250 pounds. I mean, when I was in high school, I was probably 5'7", 160 pounds soaking wet. I mean, this is insane how these kids are just growing nowadays. And yeah, U of A, they're going to be very competitive. They beat ASU last year, so that streak of ASU absolutely slaughtering U of A kind of ended last year, unfortunately. But new things are on the rise, and I think it's going to be a competitive program rivalry, and it's going to be very exciting. Every Thanksgiving, you got that game going on, and it's a very exciting time in every ASU and U of A's household.
Yeah, you mentioned Kenny Dillingham. This is his first year. He hasn't even coached a game yet, but people have seen the recruiting that he's been doing. He's had a really, really good 2023 recruiting class where he kind of revived that recruiting class and kind of revived the program. They ASU looked like they were in a really bad spot. I mean, they're just not great. And Dillingham definitely started to revive the program. He went to the transfer portal, got some guys that are going to make an impact right now, and now he's on the 2024 class. And he's getting, they're heavily recruiting Texas. They got some California kids. What are you excited about? What are you excited to see in the Kenny Dillingham era?
Man, and one of the biggest commits they got earlier this year was Jaden Rashada from, I believe, Miami, and he was like a 4-star quarterback coming out. So that is a huge pickup for ASU, and I'm not sure if he's going to start right away. He's probably going to compete with some of the older, older class quarterbacks on the roster. But yeah, ASU has a tough schedule this year. Let's not, they got USC, they have Cal, they have Utah, UCLA, Oregon. These are all competitive conference schools that were in the mix last year, especially USC with Caleb Williams, who literally won the Heisman last year. You also got Colorado, who Deion Sanders taking over. We don't know how that's gonna look like yet, but that's gonna be a fun game. That's gonna be here in October 7th in Tempe, and I got to tell you, I will be at that game. I can't miss that game. Deion Sanders.
Yeah, it's going to be an exciting year for the Pac-12 with Deion coming in. You got USC is going to compete for
possibly the national championship.
For a national championship.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're going to the Big Ten this year or is it next year?
I believe next year.
Next year.
We don't even know if the Pac-12 is going to be here in a few years. So.
Hopefully they can make it an exciting year if it's the last year for the Pac-12. Colorado, right. ASU, Washington has also been on the come up. They had a first-year head coach and they went 10-2. Oregon with Coach Dan Lanning. It's gonna be an exciting year. Who do you think is gonna win the Pac-12 this year?
I mean, it's hard to say. Hard not to say USC. I mean, they literally have. They got Lincoln Riley. They got Caleb Williams. They have. They had a few first-round picks this past draft. So I mean, they're building something great, and it's hard to bet against the quarterback. Caleb Williams is that dude, and likely the number 1 pick in next year's draft.
All right, when we come back on the Varsity Sports Show, we're going to have Kenji talking about the Anaheim Ducks. We're going to have Brooke Early doing an interview. It's going to be a great show. We're going to be back after the break on KDUS 1060 AM, the Varsity Sports Show. Go Varsity.
Go Varsity.
We'll do what's best for the team, and we'll do what's best for you.
The Rich Eisen Show coming to you weekdays from 3 to 5 p.m. here on KDUS AM 1060 and KDUS1060.com. James Out West brings NFL, NBA, MLB, and local sports talk to you Monday night starting at 7 on KDUS AM 1060 and the KDUS 1060 app.
My name is Kenji Ito with the Varsity Sports Show. As the 2023 NHL Draft occurred last week on June 28th, the question was who was going to be drafted at number 2 overall, which belonged to the Anaheim Ducks. Instead of drafting the projected number 2 pick, Adam Fantilli, out of the University of Michigan, the Ducks decided to draft Leo Carlsson, an 18-year-old center from Sweden, which had mixed reactions from fans. Despite his stat line of only 25 points, 10 goals, and 15 assists, Carlsson shoots the puck effectively and handles the puck very well. The Ducks are building a young team and have had 3 key signings so far this free agency period. The Ducks have signed left winger Alex Kilron from the Tampa Bay Lightning, defenseman Radko Gudas from the Stanley Cup runner-up Florida Panthers, and defenseman Robert Hagg from the Detroit Red Wings. Kilron is an effective sharpshooter as he had his best season with 64 points, and both Gudas and Hagg are aggressive defensemen. The free agency period has just begun as there is still more to come. After a terrible year in the 2022-23 season, the big question is can the Ducks reach the playoffs once again since the 2017-18 season? From the Varsity Sports Show, I'm Kenji Ito.
Welcome back to the Varsity Sports Show. That was Kenji Ito talking about the Anaheim Ducks. A great segment, very informational. They just had the NHL draft. I'm going to pivot here for a second. We're going to talk about the Arizona Cardinals. What's been going on with the Arizona Cardinals lately?
Yeah, they got their training camp coming up, I believe July 27th, just a few weeks away here in Arizona. Going to be having their training camp at State Farm Stadium, where they usually play. And yeah, it's gonna be exciting, man. Training camp is a great way to get down there, connect with the players. If you're a fan of the Cardinals, if you're just a football fan in general, trying to get back into the football season, the tickets are free, parking's free. All you have to do is just download a free digital ticket. And once you get in, it's live NFL practices. Where else can you see that really, except on the internet? So you get down there and watch some live practices, and after they're done, potentially they come over and chat up with the fans, sign autographs for the kids, and just mingle with the fans. It's gonna be very exciting, man.
Yeah, Kyler Murray obviously tore his ACL. I was actually at that game where he tore his ACL. It was,
unbelievable.
Yeah, not great. What should we look forward to? They got Clayton Tune competing for a job. I think Colt McCoy is still there. Clayton Tune's a good young guy. He'll be a rookie. We'll see if he can make some noise, maybe. If he can start, make some noise, hold the fort down until Kyler gets back. They drafted Paris Johnson Jr., a great left tackle, got that line help for Kyler finally. Maybe it was the ACL that was the wake-up call.
Yeah.
But, what can we expect without Kyler?
Yeah, it's not going to look very bright, I got to be honest. Obviously, when your starting quarterback, franchise quarterback goes down, the whole team, the whole landscape changes. But with that being said, the team does have they did have a whole offseason to kind of game plan for this, especially with Jonathan Gannon coming in from Philly. You have Monty Austin the new GM. Yep. So they had a whole offseason to figure this out. They kept Colt McCoy around. He's a good veteran presence backup. And they also drafted Clayton Tune, like you mentioned, in the 5th round out of the University of Houston. He was a full-time 4-year starter there. I mean, he has a lot of experience. I don't want to say he's like Brock Purdy, but I mean the similarities are kind of there in a sense of he has a lot of experience from college, late round draft pick, and he's going to come into camp and compete with one of the better backups in the NFL in Colt McCoy. So that's going to be very interesting. I don't know who's going to come out on top. They might figure that out in preseason games when they actually get on the field and compete against other teams. But it's going to be very exciting. And I don't really know what the timetable is on Kyler Murray's injury when he could return, but. The reports are saying, maybe mid-season or, maybe week 5, 6 at the earliest. So, yeah, it's going to be pretty interesting to see which backup can prevail and kind of carry the load for those first few weeks.
Yeah, and you mentioned Jonathan Gannon and Monty Austin Ford. I mean, obviously, everyone's kind of skeptical on Austin Ford going to the draft, and then I think he nailed that draft.
I think he crushed the draft, no doubt.
Did really well. Got some line help, like I said. Got a bunch of draft picks. Probably potentially going to have the number 1 and the number 2 draft pick next year, which is going to be really, really good for them. But I want to talk about Jonathan Gannon for a second. What are you looking forward to see from Jonathan Gannon?
Just some leadership. I mean, Cliff Kingsbury, he had a very up and down tenure in his time here in Arizona. He's supposed to be this offensive guru that was innovative, and you couldn't really see it. Consistently. I mean, you saw some flashes with the offense, especially that 2021 season when they were, I think, 6 or 7-0 to start the season.
Yep.
Up until Hopkins went down with injury and J.J. Watt and all that. Sad time for Cardinals fans. But yeah, I think Jonathan Gannon is going to bring more of a pro style, just a mindset to the NFL to the Cardinals, and he's more of a defensive guy. Obviously, he's the defensive coordinator for Philadelphia. That in itself, I mean, the Eagles led the league in sacks last year, so he has a lot of experience. He's going to bring a lot of ferocity to his defense. And, he brought on offensive coordinator Drew Petzing, who was the offensive coordinator for the Browns. They held it down with Jacoby Brissett for most of last year, so he has a lot of experience in dealing with backup quarterbacks. So, obviously, we're going to be in that same situation this year. And it's going to be very interesting. I think Jonathan Gannon's going to be more of a, pro-style team. This training camp, we're going to see a lot of it pay off, I think.
Yeah, hopefully he can kind of revitalize the team, and they're going to be missing DeAndre Hopkins this year, so it's looking like Hollywood Brown is going to be your wide receiver 1, which he was the wide receiver 1 last year when Hopkins was out with the suspension.
Yep.
So we'll see if he can hold the fort down, or if they're going to make a move, or who knows what's going to happen here. But I got to talk about Brock Purdy because he's a local kid. He came from Perry High School.
Yep.
I think he won a state championship here in Arizona. Went to Iowa State. Got drafted Mr. Irrelevant, last pick in the draft.
Last pick.
Do we think he's going to start this year? It's between him and Trey Lance right now.
Yep. Hey, don't forget they signed Sam Darnold too.
And Sam Darnold. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I believe Brock Purdy in that NFC Championship game, he tore his UCL. I want to say.
Tommy John. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know how long of a timetable that is for the NFL. I don't know if he's gonna come out the gate and start week 1. So it might come down to Trey Lance and Sam Darnold to compete. Obviously, the Niners traded up a ton to get Trey Lance in that 2021 draft. So I mean, you would figure that they would give him another chance to show what he has. But yeah, don't forget Sam Darnold was also a high draft pick in 2018, I believe, number 3 overall pick. So there's gonna be a lot of animosity and ferocity in that quarterback battle. Brock Purdy, he might come back, and depending on how Trey Lance or Sam Darnold does to start the season, I mean, they might just slot Brock Purdy right back in and pick up where they began in 2022.
Yeah, Brock Purdy went, I think it was 7-1 or 8-1 to
I mean, I think his first start was against Brady, right? And that's when they beat the Bucs.
Yeah. So I think it's funny you mentioned where each guy was drafted, because you had Darnold was drafted number 3, you had Lance was drafted also, I think, number 3 or number 5, I think.
Yeah, top 5 for sure.
And then you got Brock Purdy, who was drafted 256.
Yep, Mr. Irrelevant.
Yeah, Mr. Irrelevant. So that's just, I mean, it's crazy how anything can happen in sports. And I'm going to pivot again back to hockey, because Kenji was talking about the Anaheim Ducks and the NHL draft, and I want to talk about the Coyotes draft. And they had 3 first-round picks this year in the first round of the NHL draft, and they got some good guys. They got Logan Cooley, who actually threw out the first pitch at the D-Vex game the other day, and They got let me look here. They got Connor Geeky is another one. So, it's going to be interesting for them because they've had all this turmoil kind of surrounding their stadium and this Tempe vote and who's where are they going to play next year, and now they're just going to stay at Mullet Arena on Arizona's campus. I got to ask you real quick, did you go to a Coyotes game last year, really, since they were on ASU's campus?
Yeah, I actually didn't. I was actually definitely interested to see a Coyotes game in the Mullet Arena, but tickets were just insane. Obviously, the new arena is going to bring in a lot of high prices and try to get fans to kind of recompensate for the building of that stadium. But yeah, the Mullet Arena, from what I hear from other peers and students from ASU, I mean, it's a fantastic experience. They got a bunch of live stuff happening down there during the games, and the crowd is just ruckus. I mean, obviously ASU, got a lot of students down there. They're just gonna absolutely tear it up. But yeah, I want to talk about the first overall pick in that draft, Connor Bedard. I mean, isn't he supposed to be like the next, like, kind of like Victor Wembanyama in a sense?
Good,
like
yeah.
High projected pick. It's gonna be insane.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's gonna be fun, and I mean, it'll be interesting to see Coyotes. They had a sold out attendance pretty much every game this year, so I mean, it's gonna be exciting stuff.
they have a passionate fan base, that's for sure.
Yeah, so. It should be fun. I'm definitely gonna go to a few games this year at Mullet, and we're gonna see how they do this year. So
yeah, no doubt.
Moving on here, we got Brooke Early did an interview with the U of A strength and conditioning coach, Coach Dayanara Munoz, and she's gonna talk about serving in the Air Force with Brooke Early. So let's let Brooke take it away.
Welcome to the Varsity Sports Show. My name is Brooke Early, here with University of Arizona athletic strength and conditioning coach Dayanara Munoz. Day, how are you doing today?
I'm good, Brooke. How are you?
I'm great. We used to be in the same place, but not today.
Yeah, not today.
So I wanted to interview specifically this week because it's the 4th of July this week and because of your other current and past job of being in the Air Force. Can you explain a little bit about that job and what you do for it?
Yeah, so in the Air Force, I am a logistics officer for aircraft, specifically the A-10 aircraft over at Davis-Monthan Air Force Base. So my official title is the aircraft maintenance officer. That's in charge of the 924th Aircraft Maintenance Unit. So basically what I do is I manage all the logistics side of everything from the aircraft parts, supplies, the people, and the equipment, just to make sure that we're able to have all aircraft ready to meet all the mission needs.
That's so cool. I remember talking to you for the first time. I was like, so why are you a strength coach? But I think that's awesome.
Yeah. I get the best of both worlds right now.
That's fair. So you just started as a weights coach and now are becoming a full-time weights coach for sports like diving, swimming, golf, etc. What would you say are your main goals as a strength coach for these sports?
Yeah, so obviously any strength coach who goes into the job, what they want to see is try to be a good coach in order to make the athletes perform the best, right? To be the best athletes they can be. And that's as a strength coach, our focus is making the athletes stronger, faster, more explosive, all those traits for them to bring it into their specific sports. Me personally, like my goal is to obviously do all of that, but also make sure that I instill as much as much as I can with the students. Everyone's very different, right? Every team has a different personality, every team has different needs, and every athlete has a different personality and needs. So my goal is to make sure my goal is to translate as much as I can for each athlete to absorb as much as they can that they could bring beyond just their specific sport. So, fitness and health and all that beyond just the weight room, beyond their specific sport, but into life in general.
No, that's awesome. It's so cool to see you implement that, not only in my team, but I could see you doing that in other teams too. So what would you say is the most rewarding part about being a strength coach?
It's probably the most fun job there is out there. Hands down, it's just the coolest job. It's extremely rewarding. Because like I said, we have that job description of making athletes better for their sport, but there's a lot more to that. And I think being someone who can be there for the athletes. I mean, every student athlete has a million things going on in their life. Like, just the sport itself is a ton of work and time. So being there for them as much as I can beyond just the strength room is really, I think, the most rewarding part, and just seeing people reach some goals, crush some goals, and it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, no, I totally see that. And especially the fact that you love just weights in general. It's awesome for you. It's a perfect place for you. Well, thank you, Dave, for coming on here today. My name's Brooke Early, here with Arizona's strength and conditioning coach, Dana Munoz. Thank you for listening and have a great weekend.
Carving out time in your afternoon for the Doug Gottlieb Show right here on KDUS AM 1060, 100.7 HD2, and KDUS1060.com. Weekdays from 1 to 3 p.m.
Hello, sports fans. This is Dick Stockton, and you are listening to Arizona's home of youth, high school, college, and you, the Varsity Sports Show on AM 1060, KDUS, Arizona.
Amen. That was perfect. Thank you so much, sir. You are one take and done. So you've been doing this a long time.
A little bit, yes. Good. You happy with it?
I'm very happy. Thank you so much, Dick. And then as it gets closer, I'll send you the rundown again when we're about a week or so out. And
no
okay,
problem.
Great, wonderful.
All right.
Thanks again.
Vince.
All right, have a good night.
Look forward to it.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye.
The Angry Crab Shack in Tempe. With an experience so good it remains indescribable, with something for every seafood lover. Try one of their amazing custom seafood boils, sandwiches, appetizers, and salads. Angry Crab Shack Tempe is located east of I-10 on Warner Road, 480-674-3847. The Angry Crab Shack in Tempe. Come ready to eat.
What's up, everybody? My name is Austin Hepola, and I am a senior attending the Walter Cronkite School of Journalism at Arizona State University. This summer, you will get a hands-on experience from me right here on Varsity Sports Show. My goal is to showcase the amazing sports communities scattered throughout the entire valley. As an Arizona native myself, I plan to give these communities the proper light they deserve. I look forward to delivering the most authentic and genuine stories for you all these next few months. Until next time, take it easy.
SB Nation Radio is now Sports Map Radio, keeping sports content fresh and fun. Join us right here on KDUS AM 1060.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Varsity Sports Show. My name is Austin Apola, joined by Connor Ackerley, and we are joined also by Marcus Carter, the co-head coach for Desert Edge football. Coach Carter, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. Thank you for asking, man. So I just want to get right into this. And you and your brother are the co-head coaches. You and your brother Mark are co-head coaches for Desert Edge. And a lot of words thrown out around you guys are, program builders and motivators and all those sorts of good adjectives. What do you think about those sentiments, and how are you guys continuing to be known as like program builders?
Man, it's actually really refreshing. We get as much as people say the good things about us, we hear a lot of bad things and as well. So it's refreshing to hear that some of our, a lot of our peers think that way of us. A lot of things go around as far as like recruiting and stuff like that. A lot of people think that, we're doing shady stuff and because kids want to come and play for us, when the real guys want to play for us because they get a chance to be themselves. They get a chance to get exposure, chance to go to a really good high school. It's Desert Edge High School. It's an A+ school. You get everything. You get the full high school experience when you come to Desert Edge, and want to be a part of that. So the fact that people are calling us program builders and motivating that, I think that's awesome, and it's very refreshing to hear. And we're very we're very grateful to think about us like that because it's just in this sport you get a lot of you don't get much recognition. You get a lot of blame and stuff like that. You don't really get much recognition. So for people to say that, it's awesome.
Hey, Coach, I got to ask, because you guys have been out kind of, I guess you say, on the west side of Arizona at Desert Edge. You guys coached at Cactus a little bit too. What is so kind of attractive to you guys about being on the west side? Because I play in the East Valley, so, I know about the East Valley and what that brings. But, you guys advocate for schools out there by Desert Edge and Cactus. And what's so attractive to you about schools like that?
Man, so this was a very, very unique opportunity, and I thank my brother for that because he came out to Arizona before myself. And so, the story goes that, I came out, and so my brother was part of the state 2005 state championship team at Cactus, and that's what prompted me to move here. And just being over here on the west side is just, over in the East Valley, aka the SEC, and I guess the west side over here would come over the Big 12. So, just being able to have some representatives over on this side, the East Valley gets all the love, and rightfully so. They do a really good job over in the on the east side and out here in the west, which is obviously us, Cactus, Centennial, Liberty, Millennium, all these schools over here, Apollo.
Looks like we lost connection with Coach Carter. Hopefully, we'll get him back on the line here shortly. But yeah, Desert Edge, man. I mean,
I like what they're doing.
Crazy.
Yeah, they got a bunch of D1 players over there. They just had 3 kids commit to Kansas from the same school. So I mean, obviously they're building quite a bond there. That's impressive stuff. And then I was going to ask you about Jelaine Miller, who we're going to have on the show later, and what, because he obviously Jelaine, gets recommended for the Big Man of the Week, and
yeah,
this
2
kid
great
is good.
coaches.
This kid is good.
They obviously summoned this kid.
So I just going to ask you about that and Jelaine and how much of a worker he is, and I'm sure it would be a great interview if we can get him back. We'd love to have him back. So
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, they're doing some good stuff out there at Desert Edge. They're probably gonna have a really good year this year too. I had a chance to play him in sevens at ACU, and boy, they have some dogs out there on the receiving core. We're talking about Jelaine this week, but no one should forget about their receiving core and their quarterback Hezekiah, and their defensive backs. I mean, they're big, they're physical, they're fast. It's impressive stuff.
Yeah, it's a very Desert Edge heavy show today. I mean, we got Coach Carter, we got Jelaine Miller coming on later today, showing a little love to Desert Edge, who they're building something special. So I mean, you got to show love to them.
You got to show love to the West Side.
Yeah, of course.
Edge. Yeah. Next I'm going to be talking about the Phoenix Suns free agency on a pre-record, which we kind of discussed earlier in the show. Right now, I just want to quickly talk about the Diamondbacks while we have a few minutes.
For sure.
They just had a 4-game losing streak. They bounced back last night. They won 7-3 against the Pirates. Corbin Carroll injured his shoulder, and everyone thought it was like, oh, it's going to be a season-ending injury. What
Very
how
scary.
are we going to do this? Very scary, yeah. And he had surgery in 2021 for it, and now he's back. He did not have any structural damage, anything like that. They actually said that it was the ball of the shoulder extended and hit a nerve, and that's what.
Wow.
It's scary stuff. I would be spooked too if my shoulder did that too. But he's back. He played well yesterday. The D-backs played well yesterday. They have 2 more games until the All-Star break. They're still hanging on to a razor-thin lead in first place. They're half a game up on the Dodgers right now, which honestly no one even expected them to be half a game up at this point in the season or at any point in the season, if we're going to be honest.
Right.
But yeah, they got 4 All-Stars. Geraldo Perdomo just got named an All-Star yesterday, and then Spencer Strider for the Braves is now not going to pitch in the All-Star game. So Zach Gallen might be the starter. So now I think we got Marcus back. So we're gonna bring Marcus Carter back on the show. Continue this interview. How are we doing? You here, Marcus?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right, cool.
Am I breaking?
No, yeah, he's out. Yeah. Yeah, Coach Carter. I want to bring up the topic. You and your brother Mark, obviously, are co-head coaching Desert Edge football. You mentioned that he came to Arizona first, and you stayed in Cali a little bit. What was the thought into that for you wanting to stay in California for a little bit while your brother Mark went over to Arizona?
We didn't know that California was all we knew, and so for a specific reason, and then that's the time we've ever been apart, and so just made a bet. If his team, then I would come back. Then I would go there, and if my team did better, then he would come back, and thank the team did better because coming to Arizona was probably one of the best decisions we ever made.
Yeah, that was Desert Edge head coach, Coach Marcus Carter. Thanks for coming on the show, Coach.
Oh, no problem, man.
All right, next we got, I'm talking about the Phoenix Suns free agency. Hi, I'm Connor Ackerley with the Varsity Sports Show, and so free agency, kind of just started for the NBA, and obviously the Suns had a pretty busy start to free agency. I think they've signed the most people so far in the in the NBA, and they did it all within like the first few days of free agency. So I'm just going to kind of gloss over, who they signed and give you a little overview on the guys they signed. So, the first signing, which was a re-signing, is Josh Okogie, who was kind of their point of attack defender. And last year was really, really good on defense and did all right shooting the ball. All he had to do was really catch and shoot. So, obviously, there's room for improvement for him there, but it was a good re-signing. And then the big emphasis was getting long defenders that can shoot the ball, and I think they did a really good job of signing guys that fit that memo. They signed Utah Watanabe, who shot 44% from three with the Brooklyn Nets last year and played with Kevin Durant last year. They signed Keita Bates-Diop, who has like a +4 wingspan, which means he has like a 7'2" wingspan if he's 6'10". He's a good defender. He's a freak athlete. He can shoot well. Everything that they've been looking for. And then they signed a veteran in Eric Gordon, who played them last year in the playoffs. Played with the Clippers in the playoffs and did pretty well. Had to help guard Kevin Durant and Devin Booker. So obviously he's a trusted defender and he's what you're going to get with him. He's going to give you. He had 15 points per game last year, and he shot well from three. They re-signed Damian Lee as well, who also shot 44% from three. So again, another dead-eye shooter that can stand there and really just catch and shoot. And so with the addition of Bradley Beal, I think this was just a really, really good free agent period, and kind of help them gather the depth that they needed to make a championship run against the Denver Nuggets. For more on the Varsity Sports Show, I'm Connor Ackley with the Varsity Sports Show. Welcome back to the Varsity Sports Show. We're here. You just heard about the Phoenix Suns free agency. Let's just talk about Desert Edge. Talk about the Arizona high school world a little bit longer till this segment ends real quick. Yeah, they a bunch of Division I athletes, like I just said. They're going to make a great push for the Open, obviously. With they got Chandler, you got Hamiltons, you got the Bashas, you got the Saguaros, and then Desert Edge. They're going to try to throw themselves in the mix this year. Coach Marcus Carter and Coach Mark Carter, the two brothers, they've been doing a great job of bringing that program kind of from the ashes.
Yeah. No doubt.
Not a lot going on the west side, and then they kind of took it over, and even the Cactus Cobras, not just when Mark was there, but like just a few years ago, and they still are pretty good. They made the Open. They were making a good push. They had a great offense. They had a great defense. So the west side football is it's still on the rise. Definitely, it's still looking looking pretty good. What do you think a team, between Desert Edge and Cactus, kind of a rivalry, who do you think is coming out of that game?
Man, after today, I got to go with Desert Edge, man. Mark Carter. The Carter brothers are a very inspiring tandem as a coaching, as a coaching group. And then you got Jelaine Miller coming on here at 9 o'clock as a big man of the week. It's going to be very interesting to see what he's going to have to say, man.
It's going to be great. Yeah, so for more on the Varsity Sports Show, we're going to go to break right now. We'll be back on the Varsity Sports Show, KDUS 1060 AM. Go Varsity.
Listener rewards for you with the KDUS 1060 app. Download today to hear all of the national and local shows you love. That's the KDUS 1060 app.
Hi, this is the Director of Community Engagement for Hospice of the Valley, Lynn Sue Cooney, and you are just not cool if you are not listening to the Varsity Sports Show, the home of youth, high school, college, and you on AM 1060 KDUS, Arizona.
Coaches, the Varsity Sports Show wants to be part of your team in 2023. We have a proven track record of providing the most coverage of your teams with Thursday and Friday night football. We will spotlight your players with multi-camera game broadcasts, pre- and post-game interviews, and segments on our Saturday morning radio show. With over 100 games broadcast in 2022, we will be exceptional for your team. Call, text, or email 480-220-4629 or info@varsitysportshow.com.
What's up, listeners? My name's Brooke Early, and I'm proud to be your newest summer intern for the Varsity Sports Show. As a diver on the University of Arizona team, I truly understand the ins and outs of the sports world. As someone who has lived in this community for the past few years, I'm super interested in reporting from within. I'm super excited to be a part of this team, and I hope you all enjoy this summer's content. I know I will.
Hey, local businesses, join the Varsity Sports Show and promote your business on our weekly radio show and game live streams. We have several options to promote your business affordably and reach our incredible audience. Call, text, or email us anytime if you'd like more information on joining our team. The Varsity Sports Show will work hard to promote your business through our audio and video platforms while also promoting all of our young people. 480-779-9437 or email us at varsitysportshow.com.
Have you downloaded the KDUS 1060 app yet? Download today and get all of your favorite local and national shows right on your phone.
Hello friends, I'm Kelsey Reggett with the Varsity Sports Show. Today I'm discussing the Houston Rockets free agent signings. The Houston Rockets entered the NBA's free agency period with $66 million in cap space, which led the league. This, coupled with Rockets owner Tillman Fertitta's desire to contend for the postseason next year, led many to believe the franchise was going to spend big on roster improvements. The Rockets started free agency by offering former Toronto Raptors point guard Fred VanVleet a 3-year contract worth $130 million. The Rockets then added former Memphis Grizzlies forward Dylan Brooks by offering a 4-year deal worth $80 million. Both additions made sense as newly hired Rockets coach Ime Udoka made it a focal point to shore up the roster by adding reinforcements on the defensive end, and both players are known to be respectable defenders. For those just tuning in, I'm Kelsey Reggett with the Varsity Sports Show, discussing the Houston Rockets free agent signings. After spending $210 million between the two players, the Rockets recognized a need to add more big men. As they lacked depth behind standout center Şengün, the Rockets then signed former Phoenix Suns center Jock Landale and former Denver Rockets forward Jeff Green, who previously played for the franchise in 2020. Although the Rockets went on a major shopping spree and signed 4 players, the team still holds about $12.5 million in salary cap space and are on the market for a combo guard. Thanks for listening. I'm Kelsey Reggett with the Varsity Sports Show. Have a wonderful weekend.
Welcome back to the Varsity Sports Show. That was Kelsey Rigetti talking about the Houston Rockets free agency. And let's just dive into the free agency just around the league. I actually just saw that the Warriors just signed Dario Saric to a deal. Obviously, they added Chris Paul this summer from the Suns.
Bringing in all the Suns players.
Yeah, bringing all the Suns players, really. Who do you think, besides off the Suns, has been the biggest free agency get this year?
Oh, man. Biggest free agency get? I mean, you have a pending Damian Lillard trade. I think whoever gets him is going to be, the biggest, trade-wise. I think James Harden also he was a free agent, but now he's trying to work with a sign and trade with Philly to try to go somewhere. I think one of the teams he mentioned, or that was mentioned around him, was the Clippers, so we'll see how that goes. But I'm not sure if there's one necessarily big signing. Fred VanVleet is a pretty big signing for the Rockets, but some people are calling that a bit of an overpay, but I understand with a market like the Rockets, who are not very good the last few years, are trying to just bring some kind of talent in.
Yeah.
So I do want to talk about some of the more underrated signings, and I think one of those teams who made a lot of good underrated moves were, unfortunately for us Suns fans, are the Lakers. They did make a couple good pickups, including bringing in Gabe Vincent from the Miami Heat.
Yep.
They brought back pretty much the core of D'Angelo Russell, Austin Reeves, Rui Hachimura, who are all free agents. I mean, the Lakers, they're looking pretty sharp going into next season. They picked it up from the trade deadline earlier this year when they acquired guys like D'Angelo Russell, and now they're pretty much bringing the core back, and along with some other depth pieces as well.
Yeah, on the Eastern Conference of things, who do you think is going to create problems this year, other than like the Heat, obviously, who they're waiting on a Damian Lillard trade? Between like the Celtics, the 76ers, the Bucks, who's having the best offseason on the Eastern Conference right now?
I think the Celtics got Porzingis in that trade. Unfortunately, they give up Marcus Smart, who was like their heart and soul of the franchise. That was kind of a bittersweet move, but Porzingis he had his best year last year when he was healthy. He was shooting really good splits. He was putting up really good points. I do think the Bucks are going to come back in championship form like they were a few years ago. They battled a few injuries last year with Chris Middleton, and I think Giannis dealt with some things, but they re-signed Chris Middleton and Brook Lopez on much cheaper deals than what they were originally on. So I think if they all stay healthy and Giannis is still in peak form, it's going to be hard to top off the Bucks.
Yeah, and you mentioned Marcus Smart getting traded away from the Celtics. He's now with the Memphis Grizzlies now, which they've been in pretty bad need of a veteran guy like Marcus Smart. How do you think, because all the controversy surrounding John Morant,
right?
Do you think Marcus Smart is going to have like a positive impact on that franchise and how they're playing?
Yeah, I think it's hard to say he won't have a positive impact, especially in the locker room. His vocal leadership and mentality is what I really think propelled the Boston Celtics to make these finals pushes and whatnot. Obviously, Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown are a really great tandem, but Marcus Smart was the one who kind of kept the locker room together, kept the tandem together, and they're young players still, Tatum and Brown. So he definitely helped them progress in their careers, and yeah, he's gonna hopefully do the same with John Morant.
Yeah, they're gonna try to make the Grizzlies a Western contender up there with the Nuggets, the Suns, the Lakers, like you mentioned.
Possibly
the Clippers can get James Harden. It's going to be a pretty loaded Western Conference because the Clippers, there's a little bit of talk about they should trade away Kawhi, trade away Paul George, but it's hard to trade away two franchise pieces like that. And if they can get Harden, that's their big three right there. And if they can keep just a little bit of their depth, they're going to be a scary team there. The Wizards also had a really good offseason. They re-signed Kuzma. They
brought in Jordan
Poole.
Yeah.
They traded Bradley Beal for a bunch of picks and a salary dump. So it's been a pretty exciting offseason so far. And next we got Brendan Sodell is going to be talking about ASU hockey. They just joined the NCHC conference. So Brendan, why don't you take it away?
Welcome back to the Varsity Sports Show, everyone. I am Brendan Sodell. Today, I will be talking about some news that broke this week about Arizona State University and one of their sports with the hockey club. Over the last few years, Arizona has become more and more of a hotspot for hockey talent, though it is in the middle of the desert. This Wednesday, ASU Hockey decided to join the NCHC, the National Collegiate Hockey Conference. This is just like the Pac-12, SEC, Big 12, etc., those type of conferences for schools. But this conference is strictly hockey. There are no other sports involved like football or basketball. In regards to hockey, ASU had been independent since their time with the club, but they have been trying to join a conference, including applying for the NCHC in 2016. This will provide ASU hockey with not only opponents closer in geographical location, but tougher competition. Within the first 10 seasons of the NCHC, 5 different teams have won the championship. This move will not happen for the Sun Devils until the 2024-2025 season, but the outlook is very bright for the team and the staff. Vice President of Arizona State University Athletics, Ray Anderson, was quoted as saying in a press release, "Since the inception of NCAA Division I ice hockey at ASU, we've searched for a conference that embodies our commitment to the student-athlete experience, academics, championship performance, and elite competition. After a successful first season at Mullet Arena, the time is right to secure membership within a distinguished conference, and we're thrilled to join the NCHC." The team's head coach, Greg Powers, also spoke during the press release, saying that this move will go down as one of the most influential days in Sun Devil hockey history. Arizona State's hockey program has been on the rise the last few seasons, especially with the build of Mullet Arena. The team had moved from Oceanside Arena, which held about 700 or 800 fans, to Mullet Arena, where the NHL's Arizona Coyotes play, which holds around 5,000 fans. This move is not only going to do a lot of benefits for the ASU hockey program, but hockey in general in the state of Arizona. As the sport gets bigger and bigger, more people will be watching ASU hockey, and there will be more opportunities to watch ASU hockey outside of Arizona, with multiple other states being represented in the NCHC. This could be the turning point that ASU hockey was looking for, and their next big step as a big Division I program. A big thank you to everyone for taking your time this morning to listen to the Varsity Sports Show. This has been Brendan Sodell, where I talked about the Arizona State hockey team and their move to the NCHC. Thank you all, and have a great rest of your weekend.
Again, that was Brendan Sodell talking about the Arizona State hockey team. Kind of a newer hockey team there. He mentioned Mullet Arena, which we talked about with the Coyotes a little earlier, but he talked about ASU and how they had Mullet Arena, and honestly, it is a top probably 10 arena in the country. Wow. I mean, for a school on the West Coast, to be kind of bought into hockey the way they are, and joining the NCHC conference is just another step in that in the right direction for them. But for them to be bought into hockey the way they are on the West Coast is impressive stuff, because a lot of the teams you see there in the Frozen Four every year that are having success every year are the Minnesotas, the teams out east, that actually have snow, first of all, and they've definitely played a pivotal role in growing hockey the last few years in Arizona. So moving on from that, we're about to end hour number 1. I got to ask you, Austin, what are you excited to talk about in hour number 2?
Man, we got the big man of the week, Jalaine Miller, coming up. I mean, this kid, again, 6'5", 330 pounds nearly. I mean, as a freshman as well. I mean, class of 2026, he is an absolute monster, and I'm excited to talk to him and get some more intel on Desert Edge. We spoke of Coach Carter earlier around 8:30, and yeah, today's Desert Edge heavy show, and I'm excited to see what he thinks about the program as a whole as well. Yeah,
we got a great show still planned ahead for you guys. He mentioned Jalaine Miller. We got Coach Jake Barrow. We got Tyler Mayer. Yep, Tyler Mayer, fitness guru. So it's going to be a great show. We're gonna be here all morning with you guys. Austin, give me a sport real quick. Let's talk about the Suns again real quick.
Yeah, Suns. I mean, a lot of depth players, depth rotation pieces. Frank Vogel. I mean, good hire right there from the Lakers. Going to be an experience.
All right, here we go. When we return for hour number 2, Desert Edge offensive lineman Jalaine Miller joins us as this week's Varsity Sports Show Angry Crab Shack Tempe TBA Big Man of the Week. Come back to the Varsity Sports Show on AM 1060 KDUS. Go Varsity.
Thank you for listening to the Varsity Sports Show, where our mission is to empower education and enable dreams, creating an unmatched platform to showcase talent both in front of and behind the microphone in radio, television, podcast, and live streaming. The Varsity Sports Show, still your home for youth, high school, college, and you in Arizona and beyond.
Broadcasting from the Superbook Sports Studios, KDUS AM 1060 Tempe, Phoenix, and KSLX HD2 Scottsdale, Phoenix. AM 1060 KDUS Tempe, Phoenix, and KSLX HD2 Scottsdale, Phoenix.
The Angry Crab Shack in Tempe, with an experience so good it remains indescribable, with something for every seafood lover. Try one of their amazing custom seafood boils, sandwiches, appetizers, and salads. Angry Crab Shack Tempe is located east of I-10 on Warner Road, 480-674-3847. The Angry Crab Shack in Tempe. Come ready to eat. In 2019, the JV Sports Show podcast began with the idea of spotlighting young people in our community. In time, that podcast evolved into radio, television, and live stream, and through that evolution, new ideas have enhanced delivery, giving a stage to students both in front of and behind the microphone in Arizona and beyond. Thank you for supporting the Varsity Sports Show, now the Varsity Media Foundation, a 501c3 educational organization. The Varsity Sports Show is once again proud to partner with Grand Canyon University Club Sports in 2023 and 24. Join us in our coverage of GCU Club Sports on Saturday's Varsity Sports Show and the rest of the week. We'll cover hockey, soccer, baseball, rugby, lacrosse, and more. The Lopes are back on the Varsity Sports Show.
This program is paid for by the Varsity Media Foundation, a 501c3 nonprofit educational organization, and its partners.
You're listening to the Varsity Sports Show, home of Arizona's youth, high school, college sports, and you, empowering education and enabling dreams, right here on KDUS AM 1060 in Arizona. And now, welcome to the Varsity Sports Show.
It's time for the Varsity Sports Show Big Man of the Week. Brought to you by the Angry Crab Shack Tempe.
And welcome back to hour number 2 of the Varsity Sports Show. I'm Connor Ackerley, joined by Austin Hipola. And we are excited to have Big Man of the Week, Jelaine Miller, on the show. Jelaine, how are you doing today?
Good, and you?
Doing great. Jelaine, why don't you just give us a little, tell us what you've been doing over the offseason.
You know, just working out, getting bigger, faster, stronger, getting better bonds with my teammates, just that normal stuff I always do.
Yeah, and, we interviewed your coach, Coach Marcus Carter, today. How has he kind of helped you in your development, and what do you like about having him as a coach?
It's very interesting. If it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be here right now. And, he showed me what high school football is really about. He helped me with everything that I'm doing right now, working out, dieting, getting bigger, basically everything if it wasn't for him.
Yeah, like Connor said, actually, we were talking with Coach Carter earlier today. They're known as, culture builders and motivators. I wanted to ask you, what is the culture like at Desert Edge, and how are you guys going to continue to build that culture?
It's really hype. The bond is crazy. They always hype us up. D is a crazy school. The culture there, it's really strong. We're basically a family around there, so, yeah.
Yeah, you speak about family, and, you guys just had 3 guys commit to Kansas from the same school. How does that speak to, your guys' culture? And, you guys have plenty of Division I athletes over there, and they say iron sharpens iron. That's the kind of the motto that gets thrown around. But it really is iron sharpens iron at Desert Edge, because you guys have so many, Division I athletes. How does that culture and being able to go against Division I guys every single day, how does that help you become a better player?
It gives me a taste of what college is going to be like, making everybody on the team better, even the guys that don't have D1 offers. Everybody's just getting better as a team, trying to go for this ring this year as the goal was last year. And, yeah.
Talking with Jelaine Miller, Desert Edge offensive lineman. Jelaine, I got to say, man, you are a big dude, 6'5", 326 pounds. I mean, they don't build them like you, man. What is it like playing offensive line? What are your favorite parts about playing offensive line? And maybe what are some parts that you think you can continue to grow on?
I think the technical parts, I think everybody can grow on those. My favorite part, of course, is, putting my hands on people, getting physical. I like the part as a team, offensive line is not going to be good without, teamwork and also I think being a brotherhood. So I think being really close with, the offensive line, the guards, the centers is really good, working as a team so we all go as one.
Yeah, and everyone kind of talks about your guys' skill positions. You guys go to the 7-on-7 stuff, and you guys compete really well at that. But as a group, as an offensive line group, what do you think you guys really excel at, and why do you think you guys really excel at that? Because they're always going to be looking at the skill guys, but really it's going to be you guys that are down doing the dirty work. So, what kind of helps you guys excel at that as a group?
I think we excel as being brothers. I think being, having a brotherhood is good so we can, move as one. I think you can have a good line if, you're not, brothers. We're always together on and off the field, whether that be working out or, just hanging out. So I think that bond is really good for, DE, and that's what it stands for.
Other than football, what other interests do you have in your personal life? I hear that you also do shot put and discs. What interests do you have?
I also shot put and disc. I like to cook. I'm a big family man, so I like to hang around family. I also like fishing. I like playing video games, Yeah, that's about it right now. I like typical teenage high school stuff.
What's your best dish that you're cooking right now?
That's kind of hard. I cook a lot. Right now, I'm really big into Japanese stuff, so I think orange chicken.
Oh, wow.
Dang, yeah. Talking about fishing, what's your biggest catch been? You got like a memorable catch or something like that?
There's not many fish out here. I think one of my, kind of hard. I remember one time I was over with my grandpa. We caught like a bunch of bass and a couple catfish. I think that was one of my biggest catches.
Okay. You have multiple Division I offers. Like I said about Desert Edge, you guys been getting recruited pretty heavily over there. How does it, do you feel like there's a target on your back having Division I offers? Like you go to the camps or something like that, and guys are like, "Oh, this guy, we gotta, if you want to get an offer, you got to get this guy." Do you feel that pressure of having offers?
Definitely. Every time I have a rep, I feel like everybody's staring or watching, to put on a good show. But we all get pressure. We're all used to it. Thanks to the coaches, always hyping us up and stuff like that. So I think we're all used to it by now.
Not only are you an absolute, monster on the field, but you're also a force in the classroom. You got a 3.5 GPA. How important are academics to you, and how do Coach Carter, how do they stress the academics to you guys?
It's stressed very heavily, and I think that one of my goals is definitely to go to a good D1 college and get a good education for, my foundation. And I think they stress it very heavily, They're always saying, good grades, make sure you stay and pay attention in the classroom, not messing around. And I think that's really one of the good things about them. And, that's one of the things that helped me, get that 3.5 GPA.
Yeah, so last year you guys made it to the 5A playoffs, obviously, and had a good year. This year, I feel like this is kind of the best group of athletes and linemen that you guys have had in a while. So, are you guys just do you guys know that, and you guys have the expectation on yourself, and you guys are setting the bar really high for yourself? Like, are you guys putting pressure on yourself in the weight room and on the field when you're practicing together?
Yes, sir. Even after, the season ended, we kind of took that personally. As soon as that season ended, we went straight into track, getting in the gym. Even after, the spring ball, we were in the gym working out, getting stronger. We're getting ready for this next season that's coming up, and we can't wait.
All right, guys, that was Jelaine Miller with Desert Edge, offensive lineman, Big Tempe TBA Big Man of the Week. Jelaine, thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you.
No, thank you.
All right, yep, that was Jelaine Miller. Big kid, got a lot of offers. Good kid, too. That was a good Good interview. It sounds like he's done that one before.
Yeah.
Yeah, like we said, Desert Edge going to have a great year this year. I'm really excited to watch them play. Hopefully I can make it out to a game on my bye week or something like that.
Right.
And, we're still going to stay on the student-athlete aspect of things with Brooke Early talking about mental health of student-athletes. So why don't we let Brooke take it away?
Welcome back to the Varsity Sports Show. Today I wanted to do something a little different and interview myself and tell my story as a D1 athlete at the University of Arizona. I'm going into my junior year of college as a Division I diver, but actually using my sophomore year of eligibility. Last year I had to redshirt my season based on a lot of health issues and injuries. If you're unfamiliar with what redshirting means, it means I didn't compete this season, so I get a 5th year of college to complete my 4th year of eligibility. The reason I had to redshirt was mainly because of the 2022 year. I ended up getting 4 concussions in a span of 6 months. So this last year and a half, I've been pulled in and out of the pool like crazy. The reason I wanted to tell my story was specifically because of the mental health side of not only being a student athlete, but also being an injured student athlete. This is not only to spread awareness, but also to tell you that you are not alone if you're experiencing any of these feelings. As a student athlete, you can go weeks on weeks doing the same thing over and over again. As an athlete, all we want to do is to perform well, but there's so much that could affect that. We put so much pressure on ourselves to do well, not only for ourselves, but for our coaches and teammates. When injured, there's so much self-doubt that creeps in and targets who you are as an athlete and as a person. Personally, being at the pool, watching my teammates do dives that I loved while I sat on the sideline was like a punch to the gut every day I stepped into the facility. The sport that I loved was moving on, and I wasn't on the train with it. After a long time, I was able to start diving again. This felt amazing, but what I have learned is that the self-doubt stays with you. Thankfully, I have teammates, loved ones, and staff that keep me grounded and moving forward, but maybe some don't have that. If you're feeling this way, just realize that you're not alone on this ride. And obviously, if your mental health is starting to decline in a serious way, please always feel free to call or text the Suicide and Crisis line, which is the number 988. It will get better, but you need to start making the steps to achieve that. You are not different and you're not weird if you are having a hard time with mental health. This is something that so many people go through, and you are really not alone. Thank you for listening to my mental health story. My name is Brooke Early, diver at the University of Arizona, here with the Varsity Sports Show. Thanks and have a great weekend.
Again, that was Brooke Early with a very important PSA about student-athlete mental health. I think everyone can listen to that and take that to heart. That's pretty important stuff there. Austin, I got to ask you, what do you have planned for the next week going on in the future?
Yeah, like I alluded to earlier in the show, I got some big interviews lined up. Some of them I can't really get into right now, but I got one of them I have an amateur, well, actually he's gone pro, MMA fighter. His name is Austin Clayton.
Wow.
He's set to have his pro debut sometime this year. And yeah, he's local. Went to ASU, wrestled at ASU, so he's very very much progressing his career as a fighter, and it's gonna be very interesting. Also, I'm trying to get Vince to get me a little media pass to Arizona Cardinals training camp. Hopefully, I'll egg him on enough to get me that, but we'll see how that goes. Got
our man Austin Hippola in the field getting the hard-hitting interviews. That's what we like to hear, man. What have you been? It's summer for you, right?
Yeah.
You been on any vacations or any hobbies that you've been liking to do?
Most of my time, man, just here on Varsity Sports. Sacrifice a lot of my time here to make things happen. Make the most out of this internship. It's been very fun. Teaming up with you and the rest of the summer internship team. And yeah, other than that, I'm a big family guy. I just like to hang out with my family and eat good food, go out and try new places. And yeah, well, what about you? What have you been doing this summer in your off time, I should say?
Yeah, I mean, so the other day, I was able to make it up to Slide Rock up in by Sedona.
Okay.
It's, there's a lot of beautiful places to go at Arizona, kind of once you get out of the city and get into the landscape and I was at Sedona, which is known for their beautiful red rocks. And
for sure.
So I've just been I went on the day trip. I went down to Prescott for 4th of July. They had a great 4th of July show there. So, yeah, it's been a good summer for us. And when we get back from break, we're going to have Austin talking about the Cardinals training camp. We're going to have Kelsey Rigetti talking about Houston Rockets, Kenji talking about Mater Dei, and we're going to have Coach Jake Barrow on. So for more on the Varsity Sports Show, stay tuned. We'll be back after the break, and go Varsity.
I'll turn those picks into gold. Wall-to-wall NFL coverage and the biggest stories coming to you from 3 to 5 p.m. The Rich Eisen Show here on KDUS AM 1060 and KDUS1060.com.
Hi, this is Rob Maggs, Vince's life coach and surfing coach to the Beach Bum Beal. You're listening live to the Varsity Sports Show on AM 1060 KDUS.
The Varsity Sports Show and Angry Crab Shack Tempe are proud to bring you the Varsity Sports Show Big Man of the Week. Join us every Saturday morning through August as we spotlight an offensive or defensive lineman that your coaches nominate. We will feature photos or video highlights on our social media and have your lineman join us live on Saturday morning's Varsity Sports Radio Show between 8 and 10 a.m. Coaches, reach out on Instagram or Twitter with your nomination. Brought to you by Angry Crab Shack Tempe and the Varsity Sports Show, AM 1060, KDUS, Arizona. Coaches, the Varsity Sports Show wants to be part of your team in 2023. We have a proven track record of providing the most coverage of your teams with Thursday and Friday night football. We will spotlight your players with multi-camera game broadcasts, pre- and post-game interviews, and segments on our Saturday morning radio show. With over 100 games broadcast in 2022, we will be exceptional for your team. Call, text, or email 480-220-4629 or info@varsitysportshow.com.
Check out the Doug Gottlieb Show, Monday through Friday, 1 to 3 p.m., right here on KDUS AM 1060.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Austin Hepolo of Varsity Sports. Today I will be previewing the Arizona Cardinals' upcoming training camp in just a few weeks. We will briefly look at some of the top storylines surrounding camp, possible position battles, and some key players to keep an eye on. There will be a total of 11 open practices for the Cardinals, with the first one being on July 27th at 1:15 p.m. Parking and admission are free, and it's a great way for fans to connect with their team as they begin training for the upcoming season, giving people a glimpse of what's more to come. Fans are eager to see what the revamped Cardinals are going to look like. New front office, new coaching staff, and new uniforms have overhauled the organization in the span of just 6 months. There's a lot of mystique with the franchise as of right now, but once camp is over, we will see a clearer picture of what to expect from the team. The top storyline for Cardinals training camp is All-Pro safety Budda Baker planning to attend training camp following a trade request just a few months back. The 5-time Pro Bowler desires a contract extension that proves the Cardinals see him as a long-term part of their future plans. With only 2 years remaining on his current deal, the hope is that Baker is paid fairly for what he brings to the table, his explosive play on the field, and his tremendous leadership. For those just tuning in, this is Austin Hepolo of Varsity Sports, previewing Arizona Cardinals training camp just a few weeks away. The biggest position battle we'll see for Cardinals training camp is the quarterback room. Kyler Murray is still rehabbing from a torn ACL that he suffered in December, so it appears that somebody else will be leading the offense for at least the beginning of the season. Colt McCoy, entering his 13th season, is back for his 3rd season in Arizona. McCoy would be a serviceable QB to fill in for Murray. With that being said, the Cardinals also drafted quarterback Clayton Tune in the 5th round of this year's draft. Tune was a starter at the University of Houston for nearly 4 seasons, so he has a ton of experience under his belt already. Arizona is going to have themselves a little bit of a QB battle in training camp, and it should be exciting to see who comes out on top. This team got a lot younger during the offseason. There will be plenty of new faces for fans to get familiar with, but here are a few players to keep an eye on heading into the season. Michael Wilson is a rookie to look out for. He was the Cardinals' 3rd round pick in this year's draft and has been crushing it in minicamp so far. The only reason he fell in the draft was because of injury concerns, but if he could stay healthy, the 6'2" receiver should definitely see some playing time this season. Trey McBride was the Cardinals' 2nd round pick in last year's draft. He didn't really see the field much last season, but with Zach Ertz recovering from a torn ACL, McBride should easily fill the starting tight end position this year, as he accumulated over 1,000 yards in his final year at Colorado State in 2021. Isaiah Simmons and Zaven Collins are both going through a bit of a position change. Both drafted as first-round linebackers, Simmons has been working with the safety group all offseason, while Collins has been working as an edge rusher. Head coach Jonathan Gannon is looking to find a fit for both players, as they have struggled to find a true role in the previous regime. It will be interesting to see how these position changes will pay off. The Arizona Cardinals will begin training camp in just a few weeks. Be sure to attend their open practices and show support. It's truly a great time and an experience like none other. This is Austin Epola of Varsity Sports, and until next time, take it easy.
Hello everyone, I'm Kelsey Reggett with the Varsity Sports Show. Today I'm discussing the Houston Rockets' recent trades. Newly hired Houston Rockets coach Ime Udoka has begun to make his imprint on the Rockets roster, as Udoka has been tasked with helping the Rockets transition from one of the younger, more inexperienced teams to a veteran-led group with aspirations of contending for a championship. The Rockets ultimately traded away 4 of their recent draft picks, in part due to the lack of available minutes and playing time. The Rockets traded 2021 first-round pick Usman Garuba and 2022 first-round pick Ty Washington to the Atlanta Hawks, while also sending former Arizona State standout Josh Christopher to the Memphis Grizzlies as part of the Dylan Brooks sign-and trade. For those just tuning in, I'm Kelsey Reggett with the Varsity Sports Show, discussing the Houston Rockets' recent trade moves. The Rockets also sent KJ Martin to the LA Clippers, which was a move that many expected, as Martin was entering his final year under contract, and the team repeatedly opting against giving him a long-term deal. Josh Christopher could reportedly be on the move again, with the Miami Heat being mentioned as a potential final landing spot. The Rockets also acquired veteran guard Patty Mills in exchange for a second-round pick, although it was announced immediately that Mills will be rerouted to the Oklahoma City Thunder. The Rockets' moves have proven that Udoka intends to make everyone earn their playing time and isn't playing favorites heading into the season, which is a stark difference from former Rockets coach Steven Silas. Thanks for sharing your Saturday morning with us. I'm Kelsey Reggett with the Varsity Sports Show.
All right, welcome back to the Varsity Sports Show. That was Kelsey Reggett talking about the Houston Rockets, and then our guy Austin Apollo, who's here in the studio with us, talking about the Arizona Cardinals. And, you know, in a few minutes, we're going to have Genji Ito talking about modern day. And that's a little bit of a change up for me, at least, because we're the Arizona Varsity Sports Show, and I talk about the Arizona high school world. And we got a guy, Kenji, we got our guy in California, talking about modern day and talking about the schools in California, just like we got Kelsey Rigetti talking about the Houston Rockets, talking about stuff in Texas. So it's pretty big deal for the Varsity Sports Show that we have people in California, we have people in Texas, we have people all over the place reporting on stuff that you're not going to hear very much at any other radio station. You're not going to hear. There's not a radio station where you're going to hear about Texas, Cali, and Arizona all in one show. And how would you grade the Houston Rockets offseason?
A lot of people kind of overreacted to the big signings. Fred VanVleet, Dylan Brooks got paid $100 million, I believe, 4 years, $100 million, something like that. They brought in some other, side pieces, but I don't mind it. I mean, the Rockets were, I think record-wise one of the worst teams in the NBA last year and the year before that probably. Ever since James Harden left, really, the Rockets have been kind of trying to find their spot in the NBA. So. They have a really good young core, obviously Jalen Green, Sengun. They drafted Amen Thompson, who's going to be a very athletic point guard. We don't know if he's probably most likely going to come off the bench this year, obviously, with them bringing in Fred VanVleet, which I think is a fine signing. They did pay a little bit over, for him, but VanVleet has that championship experience. He's been an all-star. He's been, at pretty much the highest of highs in the NBA. So bringing that experience to a very young Rockets team, I've heard people on social media compare the young core of the Rockets teams like an AAU team last year because of their inexperience and lack of veteranship. So bringing in guys like VanVleet and Dylan Brooks, as controversial as he is, I think are good moves.
Good moves. They're veterans, yeah. It'll be good for the Rockets. Obviously, Jalen Green is another one, and the summer league is going on right now. Amen Thompson played last night. They had Victor Wembanyama played last night. Scoot Henderson played last night. So Brandon Miller played last night. So the stars were out. So who do you think last night, out of those four, because they're the top four, who do you think had the best game?
Man, it's really interesting because certain aspects of each team. Brandon Miller is a very controversial topic right now because of a lot of his fouling. He has had I think 6-7 fouls in most of his games, and not really shooting all that well. But I really think it's the situation around him. A lot of hungry guards around him. They're trying to make their spot in the NBA. So obviously, a lot of his opportunities going to get taken away. So I really think Brandon Miller is going to be an interesting one. Victor Wembanyama, he had his debut. He had 9 points, 8 rebounds, 5 blocks. I thought it was pretty decent. He didn't really shoot all that well, but I think mainly on the defensive side, at least, he looks pretty dominant.
Yeah, I think honestly, his right now, based on that game alone, his floor right now for me is an all defense team at least, or a defense player of the year. I mean, he looks like. He looked like kind of a Rudy Gobert type guy, and then if he can get his shot down and his playmaking down, then he's gonna be pretty lethal. And then you look at Scoot Henderson on the Trailblazers, who left the game with an injury yesterday, but I think they said it was a minor injury. So
thankfully,
and with Damian Lillard requesting a trade, he's probably gonna be their guy. So. Had a great game, extremely athletic, just like Amen Thompson. They're both extremely athletic specimens. And I think I read today that the Rockets are thinking about shutting Thompson down for the rest of the summer league. So obviously they saw what they needed to see out of him. And
that's it.
Yeah, they were like, yep, you got 16, 17 points for us. That's all we needed to see. Let's get to the regular season healthy. And honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if the Spurs do that with Wembanyama pretty soon here. The problem with Chet Holmgren last year where he got hurt for the year. Those tall, lanky guys, they're kind of injury prone, and so maybe they'll, let him play another game, kind of get in his groove, because obviously 2 for 13 shooting is not ideal. So they'll probably let him get into his groove, let him settle in. Had the Britney Spears controversy, probably was a little bit disheveled by that.
Yeah.
So we'll see how it goes. Summer League kind of always fun to watch. So, like I said, next we got Kenji Ito talking about modern day. He's a California guy talking about California sports. So let's let Kenji take this away.
My name is Kenji Ito with the Varsity Sports Show, and I will tell the historical and current success of modern-day high school football. For the people who do not know, Modern Day is a private high school in Southern California and is one of the most prestigious athletic programs in America, ranking at number 1 many times. Since its beginning in 1953, the football team has 562 wins, 28 league championships, 12 CIF championships, 5 USA Today national championships, and 6 undefeated seasons. The most remarkable fact about modern-day football is that it would be tied for 6th place for colleges with Heisman winners. With Bryce Young winning the Heisman in 2021, Modern Day is tied with Auburn, Michigan, Army, Nebraska, Florida, and Florida State, who all have 3. It doesn't end there for this prestigious athletic program. From the year 2000 to present, there have been 133 football players that made it to the next level and play in college, with a high of 88 players from 2011 to 2020, and from that time span, 14 players have played in the NFL. It is crazy to believe such a dominant program lies in Orange County, California. You just heard about the historical and current success of Modern Day High School, and from the Varsity Sports Show, I am Kenji Ito.
Talking about Modern Day High School. Like I said a few times here, it's great to have a guy that's able to talk about other areas of the country, California. And Modern Day has been a powerhouse for a while now. You hear about them in the news all the time. They had guys like DJ Ukulele coming through. Bryce Young is another one. Guy was getting recruited as a freshman at Modern Day. So Arizona doesn't really have schools like that. They don't have these private schools that are bringing talent in like that. You know, we have the Chandlers, we have the Hamiltons, now we got the Bashes, the Saguaros, but nothing really like modern day. So to get that perspective from Kenji is really, really great to hear, and it's good insight for us Arizona listeners. And when we get back from the break on the Varsity Sports Show, we're going to have Coach Jake Barrow. We're going to have Tyler Mayer, the fitness guru. It's going to be a great show. We're down the home stretch now. Back on Varsity Sports Show, I'm Connor Ackley with Austin Hipola, KDUS 1060 AM. Go Varsity.
Bringing you the latest sports topics weekly right here on KDUS AM 1060 with me, the Doug Gottlieb Show, 1 to 3 p.m.
This is Carefree Arizona Mayor John Crane. When I look for political advice, I don't call Vince. But when I need a good laugh to start my weekend, I listen to Varsity Sports Show. Still Arizona's home for youth, high school, college, and you on AM 1060 KDUS.
This is Coach Lucas Ramirez, and you are listening to the home of the Saguaro Sabercats, the Varsity Sports Show, on AM 1060 KDUS.
The Angry Crab Shack in Tempe, with an experience so good it remains indescribable, with something for every seafood lover. Try one of their amazing custom seafood boils, sandwiches, appetizers, and salads. Angry Crab Shack Tempe is located east of I-10 on Warner Road, 480-674-3847. The Angry Crab Shack in Tempe. Come ready to eat.
Hey there, my name is Connor Ackley with the Varsity Sports Show. I am a senior at Corona del Sol High School where I play quarterback. I'm excited to bring you the content you want to hear and see over this summer, whether it be interviews, features, or co-hosting a show. If you want an exclusive look at the high school offseason and how to navigate it, stay tuned for all that and more. It'll be a behind-the-scenes look of the hard work that gets put in the summer to show you what gets put in the fall, winter, and spring. So tune into the Varsity Sports Show.
Your morning drive just got a little better. The Dan Patrick Show is live weekday morning starting at 6 exclusively on KDUS AM 1060.
Welcome back to the Varsity Sports Show. I'm Connor Ackley, joined by Austin Hipola. We got a great interview coming up here. We got Coach Jake Barrow. Coach, how are you doing today?
I'm good, Connor. How are you?
Pretty good. For those of you that don't know, this is my head coach at Corona del Sol. Coach, I saw on Instagram you're out deep sea fishing right now. So talk to me about the deep sea fishing. How's the waters looking?
It was great. I just got back yesterday in town, but it was awesome, man. Just off the coast of San Diego. We hit Point Loma, fished La Jolla a little bit. Did a couple days of it and ended up catching close to 30 fish in total. So it was a good time, always a good time, and good way to kind of relax and recharge the batteries after camp.
Yeah, and what was the biggest fish you caught? I got to know.
I caught a barracuda. It was it was a smaller, on the smaller side. So it was like 1.5 feet.
All right, and we just went to camp. Obviously, we have the week off now, but last week we just got back from Camp Blue Ridge. And, tell me what you're kind of looking for out of your team and what you saw from your team at camp.
Yeah, so camp really is all about kind of coming together as a team. It's all about growing as a team and kind of setting goals for the upcoming season as a group of seniors and emerging as leaders. If you can accomplish those things, I think you've had a great camp, right? Because the X's and O's and scheme, we can put that in down in the valley. We can put that in during 7-on-7 and spring practice. That all gets installed. But there's nothing like going away as a team, being put in uncomfortable situations, having to sleep in a gym and deal with an uncomfortable environment with different rules and things of that nature. So I felt like our team did a great job with that. We really adapted to the environment we were put in and continued to thrive and get better and grow as a team. And I was really, really impressed with kind of some of the leadership that emerged as the week went on, because things were tough and everybody was kind of put into different situations and asked to do some things differently than they normally would. And the way we came out of that really impressed me. So I was really happy with how the week went.
Coach Barr, I appreciate you for joining us. This is Austin speaking. And, it's not every day that a quarterback calls, has their coach call in on a radio show to interview them. I just wanted to ask, what is your relationship like with Connor?
I don't really know Connor that much. No, I'm just kidding. No, it's not. This is the first time I have to say I've had a player interview me, and it's pretty awesome. My relationship with Connor is really good, and head coach quarterback relationships generally are you're pretty close just because of the nature of the position. But I've really gotten to know Connor really well since I got to Corona last year, and I wish I would have got to coach him the 2 years prior, but I got his junior and senior year, and I'm excited to kind of not only coach him through his senior year, but also guide him through his journey of playing after high school, because he really truly is one of the best quarterbacks in the East Valley right now, and a lot of coaches are going to realize that when the season starts. They're going to see how much better he's gotten. So we're pretty close. I really enjoy coaching him, and he's a really, really good young man and comes from a really good family. So I'm just excited to kind of be along for the ride.
Yeah, Coach, I got to ask you because, my sophomore year, we were playing teams. We were playing at the Skylines. We played Dobson. We were playing Tucson Magnet. And now, just 2 years later, we're now playing the Chandlers. We're playing Sal Point. We're playing Centennial. We're playing Pinnacles. So was that kind of a goal for you? Was like, we need to be playing the best competition in the state if we want to be the best team in the state?
Yeah, absolutely. Kind of last year one, we wanted to play a tougher schedule than what we played in the past, and we did. And then, we had some success. Obviously, we won 8 games and won our region, which was good. Didn't finish the way we wanted it to in the playoffs, but, nevertheless, it was a step in the right direction. So then the year after that, we kind of put ourselves in position to play a tougher schedule and even, qualify to play some open division teams. And so that's kind of where we wanted to be. That's where I wanted the program to be. And I think, this year we're certainly good enough to compete at that level. It's just going to be a matter of do we step up and execute? And that's the fun part of football, right? I mean, winning games is fun, but it all depends on, who you're playing and what you get PowerPoint wise and where it puts you in the playoffs, So, you can win, you can go 7-3 with a weak schedule and not even make the playoffs, or you can go, like Pinnacle last year is a great example. You can go 5-5, 6-4 through the regular season and then play for a state championship because your schedule's so tough. So I wanted to see Corona get to that point where we were playing tough teams every year, and then eventually where we're beating the tough teams every year because we are the tough team, right? When people see us on their schedule, they think, oh, shoot, we got to play the Aztecs. And so that was kind of my goal, and we're still moving toward that, but I think this year is going to be a really good step in that direction to show everybody, we belong in that conversation of the open division team.
You mentioned you guys won 8 games last season. I just wanted to get your thoughts on last season as a whole, and also on top of that, how has your coaching philosophy changed from last season to this season?
Yeah, last season was a learning experience kind of for everybody, myself included. When you come to a new school as a head coach, year one is really made for observation, right? You're kind of trying to see how everybody responds to different types of coaching, what the strengths of the team are, what the weaknesses are, and then you kind of come up with a way to address it. So that's kind of why a lot of times you see first-year head coaches, they do okay, don't have a ton of success, and then year 2 and 3 kind of make big jumps. It's for that reason, So last year was a lot of the same for me. I was kind of observing the team, seeing how everybody responded, and what they needed and what I needed to do to address our needs as a team. But in the process, we were still able to win 8 games and win our region, so it was a successful season from that regard as well. And then moving forward into this year, I'm excited because I know what the players what to expect from the players. I know how they respond. I know how they grow and what kind of environment they best grow in, and they know what to expect from me. They understand the expectations, and they've done a great job of meeting those expectations and working toward meeting those expectations. So this year I'm excited for it. I think it's going to be a good year for us. I think people are going to be surprised with what we put on the field. This past spring and summer, we've done really, really well. We're light years ahead of where we were last year at this time. So I'm excited, and my coaching philosophy really hasn't changed all that much. It's just kind of grown to kind of better understand the team that I have and better understand the players I have. So it's not as much that my philosophy has changed, but I think I have become a more effective coach this year because I better understand the players and what their needs are.
Yeah, Coach, you said, last year was your first year with Corona, and before that you were at Casa Grande. And I talked to Coach Hathcock, and he mentioned that being at a smaller school, it's a tighter community. So you went from 4A to 6A. Did you notice a difference, or was it harder kind of being able to create connections because the school is a bigger school?
I would say that the difference is when you're at a small school, and not just a small school, but a small rural school, like Coach Hathcock is at Blue Ridge and like I was at Casa Grande, we're pretty isolated. When you're at a school like Casa Grande, the nearest town to you, is Eloy, which is another 20, 30 minutes down the I-10. And then you have Maricopa, which is, 30 minutes to the west of you. And then you get into Chandler about 40 minutes from where you're at. So you're pretty isolated. There's not a lot around you. And so the community really belongs to you. I mean, there were 2 high schools in the town, but we were the dominant school when it came to athletics and football specifically. So building those relationships with the community was pretty easy. People wanted to be involved. Everybody that grew up there kind of wanted to come to school there. And then moving to a school like Corona in the East Valley, it is a challenge to build those same ties with the community. I mean, that is the goal, but it's definitely more difficult because you have schools around you, like Chandler right down the road from us. We have, the other Tempe schools, Mountain Point, Desert Vista, that have had a lot of football success in the past, and some other Chandler schools that have done really, really well and not far down the road. And so you're kind of battling with them to kind of create your own footprint and make yourself unique. And so that's kind of been the goal to come into a bigger school is, what makes us unique and what makes people want to come here as opposed to the other schools that are 5-10 minutes down the road from us. So the big change is really that, creating your footprint and creating what makes you unique and what draws kids to want to come play for you is more of a challenge than it is at a small rural school.
Yep.
But it's a good challenge. I welcome it. And Corona del Sol is a really, really special place. So I'm excited to have the opportunity to continue to build those relationships and create that footprint in South Tempe.
Yep. And that was my head coach at Corona del Sol, Coach Jake Barrow. Coach, thanks for coming on today.
Thank you, Coach.
Thanks, Connor. Have a good one.
Yep, you too. All right, and now we're going to move on to Brendan Sodell with Suns free agency talk. Take it away, Brendan.
Welcome back to the Varsity Sports Show, everyone. I am Brendan Sodell. Today, I will be talking about the Phoenix Suns once again. After not having that much money to work with during free agency after acquiring Bradley Beal, having 4 players with a near or having a max contract in DeAndre Ayton, Bradley Beal, Kevin Durant, and Devin Booker, many NBA analysts and fans didn't see the Suns making that many moves in free agency and being able to acquire a decent bench. This all changed, though, within the first few hours of free agency. The Suns were able to sign 6 key players that will be in their rotation. And later on in free agency came the Suns' biggest signing, which is the one I would like to focus on, guard Eric Gordon. Gordon had been rumored to come to Phoenix on multiple separate occasions, and now he is finally here in 2023. Though he is not the near all-star level player he was on the Clippers, or the 6th man of the year that he was on the Rockets, he's still a very valuable bench piece for the Suns and has never averaged less than 10 points per game in his career. Gordon will get a lot of open looks while playing with the Suns, as the defense will be focused on Beal, Durant, and Booker a majority of the time, leaving Gordon and other shooters wide open for their shots. Gordon also has plenty of playoff experience. Though he has not won an NBA championship, he has been to the conference finals multiple times on some of the best teams of this generation. He is someone that can be relied on late in the game if the team can't get a bucket to fall. Gordon had received more lucrative offers from other teams throughout free agency, including other title contenders, but thought Phoenix would be the right fit and his new place he would call home. To focus on other players the Suns had gained during free agency, they had lost wing Torrey Craig and center Jock Landale to other deals around the league, but were able to gain Utah Watanabe, Keita Bates-Diop, Chimesi Metu, and Drew Eubanks, while also retaining Cameron Payne, Damian Lee, and Josh Okogie. The Phoenix Suns in just a couple of days went from having a lot of questions surrounding their bench to having a very deep bench, one that could be one of the best in the league if it pans out. Phoenix has become a free agency hotspot over the last few years, and many veterans are looking to come here to try and contend for a title, something that was nowhere near happening 10 years ago. Losing Craig and Landale will be tough, two vital pieces of the Suns' playoff run last year, but they found some valuable replacements that should be able to fill their roles in the correct ways. The questions that still surround the Suns roster will have yet to be answered, and won't be answered until the season starts in the fall. But the Suns were definitely one of the winners of free agency and took away a lot of the valuable players before other teams could. Kevin Durant's first full season in Phoenix is bound to be a good one. Thank you again to everyone for taking your time this morning to listen to me talking about the Phoenix Suns and their free agency moves. Again, this was Brendan Sodell, and I hope you all have a great rest of your day.
Hey Phoenix, Doug Gottlieb here. I'm bringing the best sports talk weekdays to you, 1 to 3 p.m., right here on KDUS AM 1060.
Coaches, the Varsity Sports Show wants to be part of your team in 2023. We have a proven track record of providing the most coverage of your teams with Thursday and Friday night football. We will spotlight your players with multi-camera game broadcasts, pre- and post-game interviews, and segments on our Saturday morning radio show. With over 100 games broadcast in 2022, we will be exceptional for your team. Call, text, or email 480-220-4629 or info@varsitysportshow.com. In 2019, the JV Sports Show podcast began with the idea of spotlighting young people in our community. In time, that podcast evolved into radio, television, and live stream, and through that evolution, new ideas have enhanced delivery, giving a stage to students both in front of and behind the microphone in Arizona and beyond. Thank you for supporting the Varsity Sports Show, now the Varsity Media Foundation, a 501c3 educational organization.
Hi, my name is Michael Beal from Costa Mesa, California, and I'm the only person other than Vince that got the honor of wearing his high school Letterman jacket. You're listening to the Varsity Sports Show on AM 1060 KDUS, Arizona.
The Dan Patrick Show, weekday mornings from 6 to 9 a.m.
This is just something I like to call breakfast.
With big-name guests, timely sports information, and more on KDUS AM 1060.
Weekly Wellness. Activate lifestyle and performance coaching with local fitness and nutrition experts Tyler and Jen Mayer on the Varsity Sports Show, AM 1060 KDUS, Arizona.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Varsity Sports. We're here in the final stretch. My name is Austin Hippola, joined with Connor Ackerley. And right now we have Tyler Mayer, longtime fitness guru, who will discuss proper hydration and how to handle heat wave when outdoors. Tyler, how are you doing today?
Gentlemen, Connor and Austin, how are you guys?
Doing great, man. Thank you for asking. First off,
I tell you what, I love listening to the segments, and you guys we're touching base on. You've got callers. You're covering Houston, you're covering California, you've got Arizona. I'm like, man, we've got Georgia now too.
Yeah,
so
man.
Calling all the way across here, Greensboro, Georgia, and talking to Vince, I said, what perfect timing. Spending 17 years in Arizona, my wife born and raised there, we keep a close eye on the heat out there. It looks like you guys are in the thick of it right now, huh?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah, like you said, we're a very diverse show here. We got California, Texas, Georgia now. Yeah, we're all over the world here at Varsity Sports.
Well, that is great. Well, I tell you, it's a different heat here. It's it's 94, 95, and 98% humidity. So it's even though it's a different, I tell people about the temperatures out there in Arizona, and they always say, yeah, but it's a dry heat. I said, well, it's still 115, 120 degrees, and it piggybacks everything that we need to talk about, and we always talk about this time of year. But you're right. I mean, we talk about hydration. We talk about the different things that we need to be concerned with in the heat like this. Not only ourselves, but coworkers, teammates, neighbors, elderly neighbors, children. I mean, it just encompasses everything. With 50 to 70% of our body weight composed of water. Water is so vital for us. Not only the protection of our body and rids waste from our body, helps control body temperature. We'll touch base on it because I know Beaton with Beal gets a kick out of it. But our urine plays a big indicator into how hydrated we are. It should be a very pale to light color, every time we're utilizing the restroom. So, put that in the think tank and for what that's worth. But hey, let's look at a few different levels that I would need everybody to look at. Athletes, if you're out there, you need to be aware of this. I have a tennis event going on at my club out here in Georgia, and we addressed it this morning with a tennis player that went down with a heat illness. So you have heat illness, heat exhaustion, and of course heat stroke. Heat stroke being the worst of those. And the thing is, Connor and Austin, all three of these can happen quickly. You can go from heat illness, which can take place in high temperature, humidity, direct sun exposure, any kind of heavy physical labor, athletics, yard work, improper clothing, but that can lead to heat exhaustion real quickly. That's when somebody starts to get a little dizzy, some light headaches, irritable, confusion. And the thing we encountered with this, lady was extreme thirst, nauseating, and started vomiting. So, from there can get the heat stroke, which can be life-threatening. And I think the big thing is, you guys, like anything, you've got to have a plan. We call it our emergency action plan. And that's just having the plan in place. If somebody does go down, getting them into a cool, dry area, get some cold compresses on their wrists, on their ankles, over their head, maybe get them, a fan, and really is trying to reduce that body temperature as quickly as we can. I will often live by this. I've got 54 summer rec staff working throughout my clubs this summer, and I just sent everybody a hydration, a hydration reminder. Make sure we get to our venues, make sure we're offering our guests water, but certainly our staff as well. But the big thing is, guys, once you get behind, it is so hard to catch up. You ever get behind in schoolwork? You ever get behind on anything? Trying to cram to catch up where you should be is very difficult to do, and hydration is no different. So real quick, I just want to run through, not everybody, believe it or not everybody enjoys water. So yeah, I want everyone to just kind of rethink what you drink. Choose water first. If you need flavor in your water, add fruit, lime or lemon slices. Cucumber adds a nice flavor as well. If you're like me, I still like my fizz. Add a splash of 100% juice. Avoid sugary beverages. Hate to say it, y'all, but that Gatorade, Powerade, kind of be careful. Those fall under sugary drinks as well. So just watch the intake. And if you got a bad habit with having all these, don't stock as much, okay? Get your water this time of year, the next month or two, overstock yourself in water. Coffee drinkers, where are you out there? Hey, skip the syrup, skip the whipped cream. If you need your milk, substitute it with some almond milk or oat milk. And again, the recommendation is about half your body weight in ounces per day. And of course, if you're highly active or outdoors a lot, that needs to increase. So that was a lot of information, a lot of knowledge drop on you guys, but so important, especially you guys in Arizona. It's not just, these 3, 4, 5 months. I mean, it's all year with that dry heat. You have to be very careful. Coaches, be careful, be mindful of your athletes. Anybody watching the Gold Cup out there for soccer this year, they're actually adding hydration breaks. So that's just how severe and how much, paying attention we need to these athletes.
Yeah, we really appreciate that, Tyler, for the hydration. It's ever important right now, especially in the summer. It's almost always important in Arizona because it's always dry here.
Oh gosh.
So
Absolutely.
I mean, even in the
Yep.
winter, you should be drinking pretty good amount of water.
You bet.
And keep your food intake up and all that stuff. So we
Absolutely.
we appreciate you for coming on the show today, Tyler. Thank you for spreading that information. It's really important stuff. Thank you.
Man, I tell you, always a pleasure. And while I was sitting here listening, I just downloaded the KDUS Sports app. Man, I am dialed in. We're connected out here on the East Coast, and hey, miss you guys. Glad to speak with everybody again, and stay hydrated, and of course, keep moving. Okay.
Yep.
Yes, sir,
Thank you.
Of course. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. That was Tyler Mayer, big health and wellness guy. There's very informational
Very
stuff there.
knowledgeable.
Yeah, very knowledgeable. Keep your water intake up. It's been 110 plus all week here. It's been, that's why I've gotten out of the heat at least three of the last 7 days. So it's, water take's important. So we're wrapping the show up now. We got just about 5 minutes left. Austin, why don't you talk to me about what your favorite part of the show was today?
Yeah, it's been a great show. We're in the final stretch, like you mentioned. Is there an option for all of the above? Because it's been fantastic
good
from start
show
to
today,
finish.
yeah.
We had a lot of great interviews. We had Coach Carter on from Desert Edge High School. We had the big man of the week, who was also from Desert Edge High School, Jelaine Miller. You had your coach from Corona del Sol, Jake Barrow. All were great interviews. I mean, a lot of them had insightful knowledge. Just from philosophies and mindset standpoints and yeah, a lot of our segments were great as well. We talked a lot about, local Arizona sports. You got the Cardinals, the Suns, the Coyotes, the Diamondbacks. We covered all ground here at Varsity Sports.
Yeah, it was a great show. And next week you said we
have Kenji and Kelsey hosting next week.
Kenji and Kelsey next week. So it should be a good show. I'm sure they're going to try to one-up us on the show. So we always keep it a little competitive around here.
Oh, yeah, no doubt.
Any last thoughts about any sporting teams you got or?
I'm just excited, man. I mean, a lot of the Arizona teams are looking like they're on the come up. I mean, you have the Suns who are making, gargantuan moves, and the Diamondbacks are on top right now. Hopefully they could stay healthy, stay competitive. The Cardinals, they're on a little downward slope, but hopefully, they lay the groundwork. And,
a little positive stuff there with Cannon and
no doubt. Yeah, they're laying the groundwork. They're going to, make some sacrifices this year, and then next year is going to be the year where, we're going to start looking upwards. So, yeah, it's a very exciting time here in Arizona, and if you're a fan of any Arizona sports team, you have a lot to be excited about.
Yeah, why don't you give us a little sneak peek on something you got planned for next week's show?
Yeah, so like I mentioned, I have that MMA fighter, Austin Clayton. Hopefully we get in contact, we get something going there. I've been in talks. Me and Vince have been trying to get an interview with ASU head coach Bobby Hurley. So it's nothing confirmed yet, but we've been in contacts. We've been in talks with him. Hopefully we can get him on the show. That'd be quite the interview. I mean, that'd be something insane.
Yeah, you're pretty immersed in the basketball world. You were at Section 7 last week, seeing some of the top talent in the country. Saw Koa Pete from it here in Arizona.
Yeah.
You saw, you said Cameron Boozer.
Cameron Boozer, yeah.
It's another big one. Did you get a chance to see Bryce James?
I did. I was sitting front row for Bryce James, and very big crowd. I mean, he probably drew the largest crowd in the entire event. I mean, everybody wants to see LeBron's son up and close, and he had a pretty solid performance. I mean, he didn't get a lot of minutes. Obviously, he's still young in his high school career, but he looked impressive out there, and I think he's bigger than Bronny James was in his year of high school.
Yeah.
So, I mean, a lot of growth and potential there, and yeah, it was a very exciting time.
Speaking of Bronny, we got Kenji out in Southern California.
Yeah.
And we got Bronny James out in Southern California.
Yeah.
So who knows? Maybe Kenji can report on some USC basketball, give us an interview. Who knows? Maybe he'll get LeBron out there.
Yeah.
For an interview.
Full surprise here at Varsity Sports.
That'd be maybe he'll be on the show next week. Who knows? It'd be a pretty big interview there
for sure.
But yeah, I enjoyed the show. I enjoyed the last 2 weeks with you. It's been a great time talking about sports, doing interviews together. I think we both learned a lot about each other. So, I thank you for being on the show, and
thank you, man.
Thank you to our summer broadcast team, including Kelsey Rigetti from Texas Southern University, Brendan Sodell, Kenji Ito, and my co-host Austin Epola from Arizona State University's Cronkite School of Mass Communications. Thank you to our guests Jake Barrow, Marcus Carter, Tyler Mayer, and Jelaine Miller. Please be sure and check out all of our archived content on Twitter at Varsity Show, as well as Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. Thanks to our producer, Aaron Decker. And join us back here next Saturday at 8 a.m. on AM 1060 KDUS Arizona, the Varsity Sports Show. My name is Connor Ackley from Corona del Sol High School, and go Varsity.
Go Varsity.
Thank you for listening to the Varsity Sports Show, where our mission is to empower education and enable dreams, creating an unmatched platform to showcase talent both in front of and behind the microphone in radio, television, podcast, and live streaming. The Varsity Sports Show, still your home for youth, high school, college, and you in Arizona and beyond.
Broadcasting from the Superbook Sports Studios, KDUS AM 1060 Tempe, Phoenix, and KSLX HD2 Scottsdale, Phoenix.